Hello, and welcome to another episode of Simon's Universe of Music. So, today I'm going to talk about a four-piece band that was around in the 60s, a band from the United States of America, a band that had actors and musicians. They had their own TV show. I'm talking about the Monkees. I can remember being a kid in the 80s and watching this TV program and thinking, who the hell are these guys? What an incredible band that went through some absolute crazy situations, from being young actors and Davy Jones being an actor on the West End in Oliver, to going to the United States and getting a job to be in the Monkees, and Mickey also being a childhood actor and obviously becoming one of the Monkees. Pete and Michael both being musicians. So the Beatles were around and the TV company wanted to create this program for four young guys that were thriving to be in a pop band and get up to all kinds of shenanigans, getting into all sorts of trouble, mischief, love stories, hanging out on the beach and doing everything else. They were a band that had obviously music with them at the time. So I was watching them as a kid on TV, and not only that, my mum had their records in her collection. They have made some incredible music. I know they didn't write all their own music at the beginning, which drove them pretty insane, and they got pretty uptight about it. So the TV show started on the 12th of September 1966, which was a pretty incredible time in 1966. You had so many bands around the world making incredible music. You had the Beatles, you had the Stones, you had people like Dylan, you had people, who else can you think of? Maybe Cream, Hendrix, the list goes on. But with this TV program coming out and having the Beatles out, it was pretty unbelievable, and I think, it was really good. I really enjoyed watching their program when I was a kid, but I can imagine for people a lot older than myself, when that TV program came out in America, the ratings, what people thought about the program was pretty incredible. And for the characters of the Monkees, Davy Jones, Mickey, Michael and Pete, I know Michael and Pete never really got on, apparently. Even Charles Manson auditioned to get a role in the Monkees. Now, that would have been insane, wouldn't it? But, I think the Monkees, the four of them, make a good group with their personalities, their styles, for the success of the Monkees and how they've created hit records over the years like Stepping Stone. But they've also got songs like Last Train to Clarksville, which is a classic, Daydream Believer. Daydream Believer even became a football song that people would sing in football stadiums. That is pretty amazing. I can remember being a kid around my friend's house, right, and us getting a couple of microphones, and he had this big wardrobe with a big mirror, and we would absolutely put the record on, sing our nuts off, and pretend we're rock stars singing Daydream Believer. And them memories of me and Rodders doing that will absolutely last forever. Amazing times, because of, I suppose, our parents love this band, and I know that we were talking about it the other week. Like, he said that his mum loved the Monkees, my mum loved the Monkees. For me and my best friend to grow up, not too different from each other, with our parents having the influence on us for our music, and for us to grow up as best friends together to love this band really is pretty something. I mean, at the beginning they had other people to go in and do their music. They had this guy called Don Kershaw, who was a publisher and producer that was helping the Monkees with the success for the TV program and their music. And basically he was the one, getting people to write the songs for the band and help with the music for the TV program and sort of try and put it all together. But it got to a stage where they got so peed off with him that they sacked him because they wanted their own rights to their music and to make their own and really push on and become like a proper band, because they weren't really a proper band at the beginning. They were a band that were actors, but they could play, sort of thing. Well, Davy Jones was a singer, Mickey learned to play the drums, and Pete and Michael, they could play their own bits. But it got to a stage where in 1967 they released Headquarters as their first proper album, and that was number one in the charts in America. It was selling fast. They sold, I think, however you want to take this, they were selling millions of albums, and for the numbers that I've heard them talk about and for numbers that have been published, I mean, it's millions. But in the first week of them releasing Headquarters, Pepper came out. So, and I mean, that's just absolutely bonkers. But for that time period of when they started releasing their own music and given the chance for them to obviously get in the studio and put their own things together, I mean, is pretty cool. They have touched a lot of people around the world, for definite. And for the time period in America, for them releasing good music and having their TV program, it's pretty incredible. So one of my favourite Monkees songs is A Little Bit of Me, A Little Bit of You. I mean, I don't know quite what it means to them or what the song's about, but I just like it. I think it's a really good little pop song, and it's just the sort of song that I think is just really nice to listen to. And I think, like, with the music they released on their albums, for the music that they have, it's just, you can listen to it and just carry on with doing your own business. It's not so ferocious or it's not so loud. I mean, they've got little songs that will just keep bopping on, and it's just really nice to listen to. I really love listening to their music. It doesn't mean anything. It's not political. It's just very nice. And they're a great, great band that I think will have always something where a lot of people will always listen to them around the world, whoever they are or whoever you are, in the universe. They're really something because of the ride they were on. And I think in the future, if anyone was to make a film on their lives of how they created the Monkees or the band, and I think someone could put together a script into a movie of when they started and how the television company, tried to screw them quite a few times, but also for the Monkees to break free to get to the success of having mega superstars as mates. And this is another thing that I really love about this, is they were friends with the Beatles and definitely Mickey. When the Monkees are finished, hanging around with Harry Nilsson, who I absolutely love, and Lennon and Ringo, and Harrison, of course, I'm sure. But definitely Ringo and Lennon hanging around with Mickey and Harry Nilsson, and I love them. And I just think at that time period, especially late 1960s, it really is quite something. But it really is something for young people and people in the industry to learn, that, there's always going to be people out there to try and screw you over, but it's how you go through your management and how you look into what you're creating, who's out there trying to screw you over. Because believe me, for what I know as a fan, and what the music world is like, what any business is like, I'm sure a lot of people know people were getting screwed over in the 60s for the copyrights and the music and who's doing what and the musicians, who's making the money, pretty unbelievable. But it's exciting as well, because it's just like, as a music fan, you want to know, how did they get so far to create the goods at what they were doing? This is a pretty unbelievable story about, these four individuals that made this, this brand, the Monkees, because did they ever think that it would take off and they would become this band to make hit records and to travel around the world and to get the celebrity friends that they did, It's quite something. I'm really glad that I'm talking about this band, and the thing is about this lot is you can talk about all the classic songs they've got, the intro song to their TV program, Hey Hey with the Monkees. I mean, that is just absolutely class, and it's brilliant. And even though they take the piss out of it, going, Hey Hey with the Monkees. If I had a particular favourite monkey, it would be Mickey. I think Mickey is a pretty cool guy. I think for the friends that he's had, and he says that his next door neighbour used to be Alice Cooper, and for him to meet up, for them to go out and socialise, and Harry Nilsson and Lennon and whoever else was knocking about in the area, I mean, that's pretty radical. So I just think Mickey as a character and the social bubble that he was in with his friends when they were around, that's the sort of bubble that I would have really wanted to be in if I was around at that time. I believe that the Monkees had a good sense of fashion. When you see them, they look the part. And for any band, from that band from Liverpool, from the Stones, from the Kinks, from the Small Faces, from people present day, I believe having that look of when you're doing it is really important. But if you like psychedelic music and you want to know what kind of music that the Monkees have done, which is psychedelic, there's a song called Promises, which is in the film Thin in the Sky. It's just got that kind of sound to it. It's got that kind of vibe to it. And, I suppose something else is probably involved in it, which we're not even going to talk about. But, it has that sort of thing where you're floating on the clouds, you're up somewhere, doing whatever you want to do, however your imagination can work, and you're having fun, and it's a really good tune. So that's what I think about the Monkees. I think that you can listen to them, they're quite relaxing, you can have a good time, definitely out in the sunshine. I think the Monkees are a summer band, and they're great to listen to in the summer, when you listen to them in the sunshine. So, yeah, the Monkees are a pretty amazing band. They've got some pretty amazing bits of music. They've got one hell of a story to them. They were just four actors. Two of them were musicians, and, they wanted to become a proper band. And they did. And they toured around the world. Especially when it got towards the 80s, where they had the break. They got back together. And I know even through the 90s and the 2000s, they kept touring and touring and touring. So, It's a shame that Davy Jones and obviously Peter have passed on. There were four special guys. There were four special guys that made an impact on my life. They gave us great tunes. So in 2016, the Monkees released an album called Good Times, and yet again, the name of Noel Gallagher and Paul Weller crop up because they wrote a song for the Monkees. It's track 10 on the album, and it's Birth of an Accidental Hipster. It has a good guitar riff in it. The Monkees are a really important band in Simon's universe of music. They were part of my childhood, a part of my teens, and they're a part of my family, I suppose, because my parents have had the records. We were watching the TV programme when I was a kid, and not only that, it gave me something that pushed on to other things like Beatles, Oasis, fashion, Austin, with like Daydream Believer, and just all their songs. A little bit of me, a little bit of you. From a fan's point of view, they are a really special band. Show business, time period, from them as young lads to be in the show business world, the music world, and to have respect from a band like the Beatles and become personal great friends. No one should ever put the Monkees down to say that they're this, that and the other, because they're not. They are a great band. They've done great tunes even though they didn't write them all. But what they did create was great entertainment. So this is how I'm going to finish up. Thank you ever so much for watching. Everyone that has subscribed, I really, really appreciate it. Please leave comments. Please put the thumbs up. Please, spread it about. Everyone, I'm so grateful for you watching and giving me your time. So, it really means a lot to us. So, thank you very much for watching Simon's Universe of Music, and I'll see you next time.